Okay. Before the original video actually begins. Late ass SSP in the building. This video should have been out at least Saturday morning. But shit, here we are. I'm looking at it. It's Monday. I still ain't been able to put the footage together. I still ain't been able to chop up all the audio. And UFC 269 has already happened. And this video is talking about the press conference that happened on Thursday. And, well, of course, we already had the concert that happened on Thursday. And the Game Awards also happened that same day. But that information is still relevant. But a lot of questions have been answered. More questions have been asked since this past weekend. As we all know, Juliana Panner got the job done against Amanda Nunes. And the one time I don't bet against Nunes, she fucks around and loses. So I'm still heated about that. And tough ass main event between Poirier and Oliveira. Oliveira got the job done, being what a lot of people say was the uncrowned, undisputed champ, Dustin Poirier. It was a great fight between two great gentlemen that have been training and grinding for a long time in the UFC. And Oliveira is still reigning supreme, but he has a whole lot of challenges ahead. But without further ado, man, this video is still relevant. It still talks about the Holy Trinity that happened on December 9th, 2021. Information might be a little, I wouldn't even say outdated, because we are just talking about the events that day. But it is definitely an archival piece in history. So, sit back, relax, enjoy the video. December 9th, 2021 was the Holy Trinity of the year. UFC 269 press conference, the Game Awards world premiere, and Kanye respects against Drake. May God bless your soul if you were aware of this, because people, we were eating good yesterday. We were very good on this day. Now, we had some things to talk about. There was, not everything was smooth and perfect about the events. But it was a great day of celebration. We've been through a lot of mourning. We've been through a lot of loss. It's the end of the year. It's at this point when you get your mind right, you get your mind straight for the next year and with the grind that you're going to be taking on then. But yesterday was a great day of content with some big events in pop culture. And we're going to start off first with UFC press conference, UFC 269. Man, I've been slacking in all my UFC videos, man. There's been supposed to be a whole lot of What's the Fight episodes that are supposed to be dropped. But it is what it is, man. We can get everything settled right here, right now. It's UFC 269's last pay-per-view of the year. December pay-per-view is here. December 11th. The 155 division. The best division in the UFC. Is defending their lightweight belt. Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier. Two guys have been grinding it out. Both of them starting 2010, 2011 UFC respectively. And here they are. Just over about 11 years from them debuts. They be defending the lightweight. Well, Charles Oliveira will be defending the lightweight belt against Dustin Poirier, who everyone seems to be thinking is the undisputed champ in the division. As he been running over Conor McGregor for two big money fights. All eyes are on him, and he can propel into a much bigger star, winning the UFC undisputed belt in the final pay-per-view of the year. And there's other stars on this press conference, well, pay-per-view to be exact. There's other stars as well. We got the double champ Amanda Nunes, which seems like she's finna steamroll her next opponent, as he's been doing the entire women's bantamweight and featherweight divisions. Only seemed like the only challenge he really got is Valentina Shevchenko, which already she was given 2 dubs against, but we are still convinced that Shevchenko will give her a challenge if they were to go against each other a third time. But her and Juliana Panner going back and forth with that little bickering going on, that was a sight to see. It's nice to see some adversity going up against the dominant champion, to be the back and forth, to see that someone's not afraid to go toe to toe, to go out there and speak her truth, speak her piece. It would all be boring if he just was watch this press conference and it was just all just timid and no sense of confidence or urgency going against this big threat that is Amanda Nunes, and no matter how we think the fight is going to play out, it is nice to see some pushback. To see that they're at least going to go back and forth in the exchanges of words. But all that matters is when they get into the octagon. So we will see. We all expect Amanda Nunes is going to get the job done. But that was a nice little banter, especially on the final press conference of the year. Of course, 2 fighters also on the press conference. We talking about stars on the press conference. And they're not even going against each other. Cody Garbrandt and Sean O'Malley got themselves a stare down. And then I ain't going against each other in 269. But they have just now set up the fight for after they get done with their fights here in UFC 269. Yes, people, I'm predicting it right now. If Cody is to lose his next matchup against Kai Kara France and Sean O'Malley wins, we can definitely see a Cody Garbrandt and Sean O'Malley matchup happening pretty soon. First quarter 2022. I mean, Cody Garbrandt is still ranked pretty highly there. I think he's still around number 6 or 7 in the bantamweight division, even though he's making his debut at flyweight this Saturday. But you take a loss like that in your debut against, a stud like Kai Kara France, who is contending himself, trying to get in there in the title picture. You lose like that, you're going to just jump back right up to bantamweight where you were already a champion and, make sure people recognize who you are. And what better not to get some cast back on some steam by taking out the rising prospect that is Sean O'Malley. These guys were going back and forth. They were giving more digs at each other than their own opponents, which makes you think, damn, low key, what if one of y'all get knocked out here and y'all losses, y'all gonna be looking real silly. But nah, man, you know what I'm saying? We all are eyeing, peeping that Sean O'Malley, Cody Garbrandt matchup. They've been going back and forth on Twitter for damn near the last year or so. If that matchup is to happen, we already know that it's going to be a certified banger. We are waiting on that to come next year, hopefully. Whether or not these guys lose or win this upcoming Saturday, that matchup has to be next. Dana White, Sean Shelby. That has to be in the cards. That has to be in the fist tank. That has to be somewhere out there lurking, queued up. Okay, y'all, everyone want to talk about Spotify rap playlist for the year. Or I need that to be wrapped up at some point. Okay. All the details to fight contract, get it set up. Get a whole date next year. Cause that fight has to happen. But overall, man, they stacked up the press conference. They pretty much had all the main card fighters were on there. We didn't have, even though we got some big fighters on the prelims for this pay-per-view, we didn't have Dominic Cruz, Pedro Munoz, Josh Emmett, Dan Ige. We didn't have any of them there, but we had every fight on the main card there. And from top to bottom, honestly, this card is looking good. It's looking like it's going to wrap up the year. It's going to end it on a big bang. And that's how I expect a lot of these fights to end. I expect a lot of finishes, submission finishes, TKOs, especially coming from the main event. I just expect the main event mostly. Actually, no, I take that back. I'm thinking of another pay-per-view that comes at the beginning of next year. If you already know what I'm talking about. I think that fight, during the surprise to everybody, might end in a submissive finish. It's definitely going to end in a finish, but it's going to be a submissive finish. That's not a lot of people are expecting. But when it comes to the main event, 269, Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier, both these boys are going to go out and show how it's all done. We had a lot of great main event pay-per-views of the year. You had Usman Burns, Usman Covington 2, Usman Masvidal 2. Usman been putting in work all year, and he is pretty much taking the lead spot in terms of being fighter of the year. I think it has to go to Usman. I mean, who else? What else is more clear than a champion who's been active all year, fought 3 times, probably even got a 4th time if they would have booked him in June. But Ngannou, Stipe 2, Poirier, McGregor 2 and 3, even though the third matchup ended in a crazy, doctor stoppage. But that entire 5 minutes with this high, intense, fast, there's so much intensity going down in that 5 minutes, back and forth, both of them getting a good looks in. It's just exciting just to go back and watch that on replay. And yes, we already know Poirier McGregor 4 will be happening eventually. That's just not Is this gonna happen? Okay, is this gonna happen? You just gotta accept it. It is what it is. But so many great pay-per-view main event fights, bro. I mean, Volkanovski, Ortega. What else we got here? Gon and Lewis was also a good main event. We know Derrick Lewis didn't have as much output, and a lot of people, especially, was going for the hometown hero Derrick Lewis, me included. But Ciryl Gane definitely immobilized him completely, that whole matchup. And I take it, if you wasn't feeling too good about it the first time you see it, go back and watch it again. It's definitely a good fight. And when that finish happened, you really just, you have to stand back. It's just like, oh shit, Gane just really took it to him, and the way he just beat him down until it's still hard to reflect and look back, because Derrick Lewis, a fan favorite of mine as well. See him be taken down like that. I mean, Gane did his thing. Nothing but respect. Shout outs to both of them fighters, bro. But even just regular fight nights, I mean, Holloway and Rodriguez, we just had that recently. Yuri and Dominic Reyes early in the year. So many great main event fights have taken place, and so many rising prospects. I mean, Hamzat came back and looked good as ever. Like COVID ain't done shit for him. COVID done took my taste and smell. Hamzat was out here bleeding from his lungs when he had COVID, and he comes in and take out a top 15 opponent at UFC 267. There's a lot of good things to look forward to coming into the next year. A lot of great matchups that have to be made. A lot of question marks certain around some of these divisions. Bantamweight division, we still need to get Sterling and Jan 2 going at it. We still need to see what's going to happen at welterweight. Usman's taking a little time off. He's been going at it, and it seems like he has a problem with his hand. And what we thought Leon might get the title shot since the Masvidal fight has dropped off, it does seem like they're either trying to get that fight set up again, or Leon, sorry buddy, but they trying to build your name off of Khamzat Chimaev. All I gotta say is stand your ground. Don't take no fight you don't think you have to take, because it's really, in a reasonable world, when Usman heals up, that's just the matchup to make, because there's still an even amount of competitors we can match up in that top 5, even going a little bit far out of that. But the problem that has been in that welterweight division has been how such sluggish it's been, especially in the top 5. How a lot of fights have not happened as fast as it should be happening. These guys have just been sitting just high up in these tall ass chairs, looking down to the ground and saying, I'm not moving. And there's just a whole lot of hungry killers that are just dying to climb up that chair and just bring them down and just establish themselves amongst the best of the best and the best divisions that the UFC has to offer. But overall, in terms of the whole entire press conference, it was nice fun, man. It was nice that some of the questions were pretty on point. This press conference, sometimes you know, they either say something funny, they either get on the fighter, as we saw UFC 264 pink suit guy and McGregor going back and forth a little bit. Sometimes they're dumb, they don't make no sense, or it is what it is, man. But the questions weren't bad. The fighters were pretty good. And in response to the question, like I said, Cody Garbrandt, Sean O'Malley going back and forth. We had that intensity there for the final press conference of the year. We had the big stars, the big lights. All that's left is the pay-per-view. And if you gotta ask me who I think, if I had to get some of my predictions, it's tough. And it's tough when we just talking about concerning the main event. I'm just gonna go over the main event. I fucked up in all my What's the Fight episodes that should have been now. There's a lot to discuss and a lot of topics and conversations to have surrounding the UFC, especially going in the end of the year, and some of the things we can speculate what's gonna go down next year, especially for UFC 271, a couple of pay-per-view events. And Dana himself already said they're looking to book already up to April right now. There seem to be a lot of question marks, because we know UFC only book pay-per-views with champions headlining. The only non-champion that can headline a pay-per-view is currently still recovering from a leg injury, and you already know that's McGregor. But it's a lot of questions and stuff to discuss. But in terms of the pay-per-view, man, It's tough. It's very 50-50. It's definitely going to be a finish, man. Dustin is great. His boxing is great, and he's not too bad on the ground. Okay, but it's no secret about it. Oliver is definitely more superior when it comes to grappling and jiu-jitsu. Striking, Oliver has been improving immensely. He's going to be able to keep a good distance. He has a good jab. He has some good kicks, as well as Dustin. It's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough. No matter how tough it is, I do see Dustin finally getting that undisputed gold belt wrapped around his waist. Getting that undisputed gold belt wrapped around his waist. And topping off the year with such a beautiful victory against a tough opponent. But I would not be surprised if Oliveira comes off with out of this one with the dub, proving that he is the undisputed champion. He is the rightful champion, because a lot of people still doubting him, underestimating him, and bringing up the question: what could have happened if he went against Khabib? It seems like Oliveira is part of that next generation, next echelon of fighters. Khabib didn't get to test himself against a BJJ who is such as Oliveira, with the most submissions in the UFC. He comes out here, he takes down Tony Ferguson, he takes down Michael Chandler. Two opponents posting two great different skill matchups, power, unorthodox striking. And, we didn't get to see the most dominant grappler go against the most deadly submission artist. But Oliveira comes out here and win his first title defense against Dustin Poirier, who will be the same opponent in the same wins. Oh, I forget what I'm supposed to say, but will share a common victory with Khabib and beating Dustin Poirier if he does on Saturday. It's gonna bring up a good amount of questions. But all we gotta do now at this point is just wait for the pay-per-view. It is almost here. By the time this video come on, say it might be the day of. My slow ass. But the video content for the rest of this month, especially next year, gonna be a lot better for this channel. So a lot of my channels I got going on, but this channel's been suffering the most. UFC 269 press conference was a good press conference, man. It was good end off in the year. Now we move on to the Game Awards. Now we all know the Game Awards is usually the show is pretty lackluster. It's long, it's drawn out. We can tell a lot of times when they be announcing a lot of these awards, they just don't give a fuck. Is this to fill up time? There's a lot of fillers. They always be bringing out some celebrities or some content creators or streaming personality talking about, it's so excited to be here. Check it out with us. Oh my God, come here. Give us the views. Give us the views. Give us the views. Give us the views. But, we really mainly watch the Game Awards to see who does end up winning in some of the major categories. Best action adventure game, best multiplayer, game of the year, best narrative, awards such as that. Mainly game of the year. We want to see who ends up winning, because sometimes there'll be surprises that happen at the Game Awards. Who takes up the game of the year, and sometimes, with that bullshit, fake ass console war, people out here wasting their time fighting for some plastic to see if that game that might be exclusive to that plastic platform or was published by one of the publishers of the big console manufacturers end up taking the big award home. They would like to take that as a personal dub themselves and wake up the next day continuing the rat race and continuing it as if it's a long marathon that they never leave ever in their lives. But we really watch the Game Awards for the world premieres. Yes, we have seen many great games showcased at the Game Awards. I mean, just for me to come up to mind, Spec Ops: The Line, The Last of Us, Uncharted 3. So many good games were revealed at the Game Awards, and it has taken itself as being probably especially during these times, probably the pinnacle place of seeing what gaming has to offer in the next year and years to come. And we didn't really get some massive soccer or some S tier. Now, I wouldn't say of all the reveals that this was their best year, or that this is, if we were going ranking on a tier system, that this was S tier or even A tier, but it was a very pretty decent year of reveals. And for me personally, I did see a lot of games I was interested in, and I was kind of, surprised by a few announcements. I'll start off first. Alan Wake 2. It's about time to see Remedy Games be able to make the sequel for that cult classic game. If you didn't play Alan Wake, they just released the remaster. I know it just came on PlayStation consoles for the first time. A great psychological horror game. Well, not in terms of more horror. It's more thriller than horror. As they got onto the stage, as they announced the second game, that one's going to be a lot more horror based. But the first game is a lot more just getting into the psychology of your mind. Basically, the game is just about a writer takes this vacation with his wife, an old town, a whole lot of old folks, and a whole lot of crazy shit. That's all you need to know, man. It's a great game. It's nice to see they finally got the sequel greenlit. They was able to make the money they needed to make this sequel. But it's gonna be interesting to see what they do, especially if it's exclusive to next gen consoles. We're finally getting games that are only being made for the PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles and PC. So now we're starting to see what they're able to do with this new power that they got off, now that we're starting to get more options into our gaming. We're starting to see more 4K options, 60 FPS options. We're starting to see these SSDs get put into work. So it's going to be interesting to see what a lot of these games, especially sequels and remakes of classic franchises like the Dead Space remake that's coming out soon. And we didn't see reveal for it, but Bioshock 2022 is actual game that's coming out, Bioshock 4, and especially Alan Wake 2. It's nice to go and see what type of development changes happen for these oncoming sequels. We also had Bokeh Game Studio, which is being led by the Silent Hill creator Keiichiro Toyama. I might just butcher that name too. It's a damn shame. But I've been checking this studio out a little bit, especially if you may have noticed his name kind of resembles a little bit of a special indie developer we've been doing a little special case on, that's been doing his own little shenanigans off onto the race side. Blue Box Game Studios, if you are aware of them, and Hassan Karam. Yeah, I ever since this whole Silent Hill fiasco, this whole abandoned fiasco, I've been aware of what's been going on with Bokeh Game Studios, so it's nice to see that they got a game reveal for the next game that they working on, Slither Head, which is probably going to be very heavily inspired by the Silent Hill work that he was working on prior to that. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that game shapes up. We need to see a lot more of that. They sold some Elden Ring, we already know. Game of Thrones world, inspired by Dark Souls mechanics. Either you're with it or you're not. Me, I'm with the six. So we're gonna be there with Elden Ring. We already know. It seems like a lot of y'all are hyped for Elden Ring, but it's gonna be very interesting to see how the sell numbers are done for that game, because the Souls games sell pretty well. But as far as winning out in polls as being the most anticipated game, and seeing a lot of you frauds in the community, especially in the space of gaming, I would not be surprised to see seem like there's a whole lot of hype around the game, but it doesn't sell 5 million copies in the first week. More like 5 months or so afterwards, it sells 5 million copies on all platforms. But I don't know. I just feel like there's gonna be a whole lot of chattering, but we ain't gonna see a lot of achievements or trophies going on in the game charts. But that's a different discussion. A different topic for another day. Finally, you get to see some gameplay for Rocksteady's new game. You're not aware of Rocksteady, who made the Batman Arkham trilogy, a great trilogy of superhero games. Rocksteady's making their own version of the Suicide Squad. You got to see some gameplay. Seems like you're gonna be able to take control of the 4 characters. Maybe it has co-op. there's a lot of questions that still didn't get answered, but we definitely got to see how the gameplay is. It seems like it's launching next year, 2022. The graphics looking pretty good. The gameplay ain't looking too bad. I like how the large scale of the map, how it's looking, how the enemies got enemy fronts all around, and how you're able to slide and traverse around the scenery. It's looking nice. It's looking like it's going to shape up to be a pretty good game. We need more info. We need to see more intel. Speaking of superhero games, Wonder Woman is getting her own game from Monolith Productions. If you're not aware of them, they made a Middle-earth game, Shadow Mora and Shadow War. Pretty good games, and it seems like this Wonder Woman game is going to be taking good use of the Nemesis system. If you're not aware of the Nemesis system, it's pretty much a system of there is a hierarchy of enemies from low level to high level. You take out one enemy, you get more intel on some of the other enemies and what their details and kingdoms might be. But if that enemy kills you in your attempt at fighting that enemy, then that enemy in the next life he gets stronger, he gets better, he levels up, so he's more stronger on the next encounter you have to go against him. That's basically the basics gist of the Nemesis system. It's a pretty good, interesting system. It's gonna be interesting to see how they do that with Wonder Woman and what type of Wonder Woman villains is gonna appear in this game. Very interesting. You guys know more about it. Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming to PC. Interesting enough, there's been rumors about Final Fantasy VII coming to PC, especially on the Epic Games Store for so long, and now it's finally here. Star Wars Eclipse. I mean, when we were looking at the teaser, you knew it was a Star Wars game. You just wasn't aware. We didn't know they were showing more of the Night of the Old Republic remake, or they were showing Fallen Order 2. But it seems like it's Quantic Dream working on a Star Wars game. Quantic Dream behind Heavy Rain, behind Beyond Two Souls, and behind Detroit Become Human. It's going to be very interesting to see what type of mechanics they bring into the Star Wars universe. So Quantic Dream making a Star Wars game. Very interesting. Very interesting. Finally, you see a little bit more of Hellblade 2. Yet I was very disappointed. They before they sold the premiere of Hellblade 2, right? They tell us it's a gameplay trailer, and it really just seems like it's really just a cinematic trailer, and they just put the camera right behind her and made it seem like it was actually, a gameplay, But it didn't live up to anything. I can't, if you're hyped for it or anything like that. I mean, all good for you, but that trailer was very underwhelming. Very underwhelming. We really didn't see nothing much. It really seems like it was some tricks to make it appear more like his gameplay, even though it was just more straight lines. He was just running she was just running in a straight line pretty much, and then she does one little action, and then it's back to running in a straight line again. Camera right behind her, placed strategically right behind her. It really doesn't seem like it was a gameplay. It seemed like it was a cutscene that was more mirrored to look like it was gameplay. But very, very disappointing trailer. I'm still hyped for Hellblade 2. I enjoyed my little run through of the first game, but that trailer was just not it. It was just not it. Very disappointed, but hoping to see a lot more for Hellblade 2. Cuphead finally getting its DLC. And I still need to get that game. But you know what? It's all good. Cause they just, 2 to 3 years later? Oh shit, probably 4. We're finally getting the DLC for Cuphead. It's coming out June 30th, 2022. It's called The Delicious Last Course. It's a very big expansion. They've been working on it for so long. They don't even got the next gen versions stated for release. Seems like it's all coming for the PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. We know the previous gen consoles, and of course PC. But the previous gen consoles that this game was released on, it's nice to see, because it's a team of 2 people. I'm pretty sure. But it's nice to see that these guys came up here with DLC, especially compared to other developers who could be doing DLC for the games, Rockstar Games. But it's nice to see them finally get roll out on that promise and get some more contests of such a great, challenging, difficult game that is Cuphead with a beautiful art style. Haven't really checked that Cup yet. It's pretty much on every platform now. Go check it out. I'm gonna check it out myself. I'm definitely gonna get to the game before the DLC comes out. So that's gonna be very interesting. Seems like Telltale was out here announcing a whole lot of games. They have, I think they're working on a space game called The Expanse. Yeah, they got a space game coming out, The Expanse, and they got their own. Speaking of space explorations, they got another game coming to the Star Trek universe. And yeah, if any Trekkies are into that, I'm not really into Star Trek. You know, I ain't really seen much of the movies and shows. I mean, hell, I'm not even really into Star Wars like that, but I'm definitely more into Star Wars than I am Star Trek. But do y'all thing. If anyone was looking for that game, it is what it is, man. The Expanse, which is apparently was an Amazon series. Telltale's working on that as well as the Star Trek game. So if y'all are into that, go ahead and check it out. It was a good amount of indie games shown throughout. A couple of indie games we saw at the PlayStation State of Play not too long ago. I feel like I do not know the name of the game, but Tachia, if you know the game with the little brown skinned girl going around and turning into animals and exploring and sliding down the environment and traversing and picking up collectibles and all that. Yeah, it looks like a nice little chore game. That Dokev, that game that's looking better than a lot of these other games coming out so far in this next generation. They had a little K-pop dancing segment. Seems like he's gonna go around, explore the world, and live life as a kid who has to not worry about any struggles or responsibilities. Don't y'all guys remember that when y'all were kids? You didn't have to worry about the painfully disgusting road that you have to experience and grow into when you become an adult. Don't you remember that? But yeah, man. Overall, though, you know, we saw the Borderlands spinoff game, Tina's Wonderful Wonderland. I'm pretty sure. As I check up real quick, probably gonna cut. Well, yeah, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, the Borderlands spinoff. That's looking pretty interesting. I mean, it's Borderlands in a more fantasy environment. I might be checking that out. And overall, though, of all the reveals, there was probably a couple of the slight ones, or a couple a little bit more, you know, at just slight announcements of what was expected, or what was, you know, that was more common, you know. I mean, they're doing PUBG's free to play, Among Us got a VR edition coming out, but overall, and then there was that Thirsty Suitors, which came off as a like it was a Scott Pilgrim versus the World type of vibes, but that game definitely came out very interesting, very interesting. It definitely seemed like it's done on the perspective of, I guess, a bisexual female who has a whole lot of exes, from metrosexual exes to a whole every variation of human beings. So I feel like it's the pansexual version of Scott Pilgrim versus the World, but could be very interesting. Could be very, see how the gameplay is. I mean, you know, might have to give it a shot. Tunic and Crossfire X, but there's some other games I saw that looked very interesting. Had to see a lot more news on that. But overall, that was the biggest war premieres. I mean, there was a couple games that's been rumored that, you know, we didn't really get to see. That would have been nice to see, like Bioshock 2022, Injustice 3. Definitely could have been a good amount of more games to show. Also, I can't forget, we did see a little bit more Horizon Forbidden West. So that was pretty nice. Can't wait to see. Really can't wait to get my hands on that game next year. It's coming out in February. Be ready for that. But overall, the announcements are still pretty nice. It's still pretty neat. I feel like it was actually better than compared to last year's announcements. And we got a couple of new game announcements that we weren't really expecting, like Alan Wake 2. So it's nice to see. And just can't wait to see more and eventually get our hands on these games, people. That's what matters most. Getting our hands on these games. But overall, the whole world so in itself, we don't really need to get and dive deep into that. The main thing is, game of the year went to It Takes Two, a sleeper. A sleeper dub. A lot of people were wondering if it was going to be Deathloop. It seemed like it was such an industry darling. People were wondering if it was going to be Resident Evil 8 Village, because that kind of seems like it's kind of the consensus pick among gamers. You know, we kind of seen this year, you know, a lot of releases were pushed back due to COVID, so we didn't really get as much games that we were expecting this year. So it seems like Resident Evil 8 had it in the bag for a lot of gamers. Metro Dread was always in the running. Seems like a lot of people pulling behind that. And you know, Ratchet and Clank and Psychonauts 2 weren't bad games themselves, but It Takes Two comes out with a dub. Surprising dub, and it seems well deserved. I haven't got to take It Takes Two, you know, that's a co-op game. I will get to it eventually. But shout out to Joseph, man. Hit A Way Out, a brothers, I tell two brothers, and A Way Out. He's been making some pretty good games with some interesting co-op dynamics, and can't hate on it. Definitely can't hate on it, man. He's been doing this thing. And to be recognized as the game of the year at any big award show is a astonishing achievement. So shout out to them, shout out to the whole team on working on that game. Hopefully I can get to experiencing that game and see what was so good about it. But overall, that wraps up a pretty decent year for gaming. It was the first year since the release of next-gen consoles, PS5, Xbox Series X, and we are just getting started. I mean, just for all the games that's been announced this year, that's coming next year, that we expect to be coming very, very soon. I mean, shit, I just forgot they sold some more Forspoken that's coming out next year. That's gonna be good. We didn't see nothing of the Harry Potter game that's coming out, but we got that, the Legacy of Hogwarts, that's coming soon. Got Marvel Spider-Man 2, God of War Ragnarok. We got just so many bangers and so many unannounced bangers. I mean, there's so many. There's Dead Space remake. There's fucking Alan Wake 2, fucking so I've been looking at Sifu, what else? Wolverine game coming out. I mean, it's gonna be pretty fun. I'm trying to think more that's coming out next year. Like even Gotham Knights, we seen a little bit of that. We still need to see more of that, but that's looking pretty interesting. It's being made by the same people who did Arkham Origins. So Arkham Origins wasn't even a bad game. WB Montreal Games, you gotta see what you're hitting for with that one. And like I said, Suicide Squad game coming soon. And then it's really just so much to think about what's to come in the future of gaming. And it's gonna be great. These next 2 years, 2022, 2023. 2022 is gonna be kind of intermission year, you know. Gonna be a lot of good games coming up, but 2023 gonna be that real good one. Especially hopefully we all out of this bullshit. 2023 is gonna be that with all the bangers that come through. But man, there's so many good games coming out soon. Just Elden Ring. I mean, when you just sit back and you just want to list them all, it's just like this guy enjoyed the whole plethora, you know. But this year for the world premiere, I give it like a solid 6, maybe going up to a little bit of a 7. In terms of the world premieres, I would give it that. It wasn't too bad. So, shout out to Jeff Keighley. Shout out to the Game Awards. Shout out to all the developers that are nominated, man. Shout out to all the developers that was able to give us a nice insight into what they've been working on. One more to come. Oh yeah, Saints Row is also coming too. The gameplay actually was looking pretty interesting. In terms of the whole aesthetic of it, I don't know how to feel about this reboot, man, but it is what it is, man. That is also coming here. Like you said, we got a whole lot of games coming, man. New ones, new IPs, and returning franchises. Man, every time I just be thinking about the Dead Space remake. We definitely need to see more of that. And hell, even the what's the Dead Space spiritual successor that's coming out with the makers of the original Dead Space game? Callisto Protocol? Someone will probably correct me in the comments. It no matter what, great year of gaming coming soon, and that has been going on so far. But it's indies or triple A's, multiplayer, single player, we're eating good. So I'd like to wrap up this video. We're going long enough, damn near a whole hour, but just to touch up briefly on a great concert, a benefit concert that went down on the same day at the end, after an hour and 30 minutes of delay expected from you fucking niggas. I knew you niggas were gonna do it. But the Kanye with special guest Drake concert that went down, the relief benefit concert, the free Hoover, and how big this was for the culture of music, especially in hip hop, man. You know, the beat that Kanye and Drake had what went down, especially that whole year 2018. So for them to come together and perform some of their biggest hits together, it's a nice treat to see. We all know we were sitting up there late night, just waiting, anticipation for them to come out, and they drawed it all down like they took us to church on a goddamn Thursday night. They definitely did. Waited long for service to start, and then they gave us the morning, afternoon, and night service before them two niggas even came down. But man, was it worth it. It was nice energy, it was nice vibes, the music, Mike Dean doing his thing out there with the engineering. This everything they were just doing with the instruments and tuning up the instruments for the different songs that they had. How they walked down to the stage, and we all like they were going to perform the fusion dance. And then Kanye started. He started with the classics. He started with all the way from College Dropout to Graduation. He started hearing All Falls Down, Gold Digger, I Wonder. The way Kanye was going out about it, low key made me. We all started, sometimes you start making some speculation. You start wondering, oh, what if it was like this and that. The way Kanye was going like this, he definitely started making it seem like this was a versus, and he was on his Gemini rays, and he was like, Drake don't go until I go through my whole catalog. Because the way he started from the way he just started off playing like his old soulful songs, definitely started making, he was coming off on the verses. Because as we know, this was billed as pretty much songs that was coming from Donda and a CLB. So we were expecting more newer songs, if anything. So when Kanye just started coming out here and he was playing, all the classics from his first 3 albums mainly, and then he started going into Yeezus. When he got into the Black Skinhead, you might have been like, oh shit, like what if this was a versus, or what if this was a chess move played by Kanye? He got Drake out here, and this man just played Find Your Love, and he's like, yeah, nigga, man, when I worked on this song for you, yeah, nigga, respect me, I'm a god. But that is all just jokes. We may make little jabs and dabs, but it was a great performance. Even when Drake came in, Kanye, his performance in contrast to Drake, the thing with Kanye was he came off censoring a lot of these songs, a lot less secluded songs, a little bit more of a comfort, passionate songs. But Drake, the songs, especially his playlist, we can get on about the track listing for Drake. They weren't bad songs, and it wasn't a bad performance for Drake. It was nice to see Drake have his own rendition of 24, and really to go on from that, from Kanye coming here playing All Falls Down and Bound 2, and then you got Drake up here talking about no friends in the industry and Knife Talk. They're not bad songs, but I can definitely see how, people who kind of might be like, whoa, like why don't Drake come out here and play Over? Or he did play Forever with him and Kanye on the stage at the same time, but he probably expected him to jump into Forever, even jump into God's Plan a little bit more earlier, and treat it as such as kind of matching that same vibe. Because Drake kind of come up here and seem like this man is damn near a fucking delinquent compared to the gospel of Kanye, and he's coming up here talking about I'm gonna fuck you so good and Knife Talk. But it's all good, man. It was still a great performance. It was a great performance for both of them to hear both of their catalog. And that's what we gotta understand. This was billed as a Kanye with special guest Drake, so it was primarily a Kanye event compared to a Drake event. But even though the names of those two are so big, and so they're two of the biggest stars in rap, that we would build that they are both co-mains. That's why we talking about the whole fusion dance and this together. You expect them both be going out together. I mean, hell, I remember one of the songs that got leaked out that was supposed to be at the set list was Glow. I don't even remember if Glow got played, but you would be expecting them to do songs together, maybe do pop style together, to come together. And especially at that moment when Kanye played Find Your Love, you expecting Drake to be on there, on stage at the same time, but Drake was just taking it in because he's such a big fan of the game. He's such a big fan of Kanye. It was definitely a moment for him to kind of just tap into the fan in himself and appreciate it. And it was a moment for us to appreciate it. No matter how you want to look at it, no matter how you want to view it, if you were just a big Kanye fan and didn't really fuck with Drake, or you're a big Drake fan and didn't really fuck with Kanye, it was definitely a beautiful moment. And really in rap, we can get something like this, two of the biggest stars come in here and perform some of their biggest hits, and be able to watch it and to see the production. The smoke screen that was going on, the lighting, and it's just, again, the music, bro, the fucking music, how they engineered all this was just perfect. And one thing I want to touch in, man, Kim, come back to Kanye, man. A lot of times I was watching, especially when he was singing Bound to, a lot of these songs, man, it seems like he is just speaking to you, Kim. He wants you back. Stop fucking around with Pete Davidson, whatever y'all doing. Come back to Kanye, man. Reunite this man's home, his family. Give him another chance. Again, come on. Give this man another chance, man. I damn near was tearing up hearing the passion, the emotion in this man's voice for you to come back. He was singing a lot of them songs, especially the old throwbacks. God damn. And to be honest with you, for the both of them, a lot of them had a whole lot of classics that they didn't get to. If you even want to treat this as an unofficial versus, it really shouldn't be treated as an unofficial versus. It really was a collaboration. This was for something much bigger than just petty beef. It was for the whole world to see the two biggest stars come together on this one special night and perform some of their biggest hits together for a greater cause, and bringing awareness and attention to the entity of Larry Hoover. It doesn't matter if you know who he is, you're more aware, if you agree, or if you feel like it's justified injustice there. You are aware to the entity in the name of Larry Hoover, and that's what they wanted to do with the bring up this concert. They wanted y'all to just look into, or to have thoughts brought into your mind about the entity of Larry Hoover, and to look up more about that story and the justice they bring it to whoever it is, whether if it's a warden out there, a DA, or anybody, even just you if you feel like this is a regular common folk. And there was a lot of big stars and presidents out there. So I even saw Jack Harlow and Drewski was out there. Anyone would have been out there being in LA. It was the biggest night. It was a big concert. It was a big performance. You don't get something like that. And especially, it's the first performing concert for for both of them, really, especially since the pandemic, especially for Drake. So it was nice to see Drake come out here and give himself a little performance since releasing the biggest album of the year, and Certified Lover Boy, and see him go through his own little track set list, and then even see Kanye come out here performing his old throwbacks and go through all his, the way he started out with Runaway, and then he went into some tracks from Done. Just to see Kanye just kind of go through his whole catalog, like I said, it really was an event headlined by Kanye. So to see him go through those classics, because we got people who are more fans of the old Kanye, and we got people who are fans of the newer Kanye, and whether that started from My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy or Yeezus. It's nice to see that, and it was nice to see Drake coming here. And we knew Drake was going to be on the whole, man. I'm so grateful to be here, man. I'm just here to rock out with y'all a little bit. So he came out here to say, man, y'all gonna let me rock out with y'all for a little bit, and the crowd was feeling it, man. It was nice to see Drake come out here and do some of his songs and perform for the fans, and also he had to make sure that they were fucking with him, since he might be a little scarred from that flogging performance. I'm just fucking with you, Drake. But overall, man, it was a great night, man. It's not really about butting heads or putting them against each other. It was a great night. They came down walking together, and they left together, signifying an agreement of peace. And that's all we can look for, man. That's all we could hope for, and man, that's all we hope. And I hope y'all would have felt, especially you were watching in the 3 events that went down on December 9th of 2021, because it was a holy trinity of affairs. UFC 269 final press conference, some world premieres from the Game Awards, and Kanye featuring Drake performing at the LA Coliseum. People, it was a great day of content, man. A very great day of content. Very great day of content for pop culture. And a lot of discussions and topics. And we got a lot of great entertainment out of it. And I'm appreciative. I'm here for it. I'm grateful for it, man. I'm grateful for y'all tuning in for the video, tuning in from a long range. I know we're going to have separate people tune in. UFC people, UFC-centric people, gaming-centric people, music-centric people, especially on this channel with the different commentary and topics I'll be ranting on, going on about. But it was nice for me just to come in here and just rant about what went down that day because it was such a great day. It was a lot of things. I still didn't really get through a lot of discussion topics I really want to get to about those 3 events. But I think I got through enough, especially since we getting at about an hour run time. But want to get this video out the next day afterwards, which is the 10th. On the Friday, but we're probably going to end up coming on a Saturday. So that's going to be kind of a conflict of interest. Could be, 2 days after, 2 days off all these events. It's going to be the day of the pay-per-view, but fuck it, man. I ain't got nobody starting off on my channel yet right now, and I'm still bitter enough. I got a whole lot of growth and growing I got to do myself, but this is just a little precursor, the precursor, the prequel to so much more to come for this channel. I hope y'all enjoyed it, man. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Whether you watch 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, or all 3 of these events on the same day, if you watch it on replay the next day, or if you come back and watch the archives or later. So I might watch the archive of that performance for many more time, to come. But it was a great December 9th, man. It was very great. I even saw, everyone. Where you were streaming that day and you were streaming a whole lot of content to react to and watch, or you were just talking on Twitter, whether or not there was a lot of people hype and psyched about what was going down that day. And like I said, it was the Holy Trinity for December 9th, 2021. And with that being said, I think I've gone on long enough. I said way too much, man. I'm getting hungry myself. I gotta get some food. I've been talking here for an hour. Build this as the longest video here on the SSP channel. Because I'm signing out, damn it. This is SSP, man. I hope y'all been out there doing good on yourselves. And enjoy the rest of your holidays. And make sure you're set on what you want to do for the next year. But this is SSP, and I'm signing out. Peace.
Yo, this is dedicated to all the fake suckers. Suck up, suck MC. Gotta go. All the suckers gotta go.